Didn't see it coming, but it's very welcome because bro talked about oligarchs. Even that video might be important to discuss. Welcome to my Capitalism Explained series. I unfortunately go in much greater detail. I use the theoretical powers to get there, because I actually see the consequences that capitalism is causing. One of the capitalism's fundamentals, it's a game. You can opt out of the game. You don't have to play it. You feel you have enough money and you don't need more money, you can opt out. You can say no to things. You have a lot of freedom in that sense. You don't have freedom when you want to be in a certain money bracket, but you have to also work very hard for that bracket. Like impress certain people or just simply go to work. That can take your entire life away. Luckily, it didn't happen to me. Thank God. It's a game everyone is forced to play the game, but nobody is told how to play it, right? The only thing you know is you need money in the end of the day. So everyone is rummaging around, trying to find a way to get them money. You can always expect that as well. To the point where some hate comments of like accusing me to being unemployed or telling me to get a job. And it's like, well, you're wrong. I don't actually need to play that part of the game. Not desperate. I'll stay unemployed for a long time. I'm actually in second level of bracket of unemployment. Second level. I'm way deeper than I expected to be. Alright, the system just loves treating me as a completely incapacitated poor little guy. Alright. To get my free time, that's all I need. All I need is my free time. That's my win condition. I don't want to be in a bracket of certain wealth. I just rejected the whole thing as a whole, and it worked out for me. But again, people pretend in the higher levels of bracket that they're cooler than you, that they did way more things than you. It's not entirely false. They could be wearing a mask, though. And in higher levels of bracket, it has been tested that a wealthy person collapsing is much more likely to be helped than a homeless person collapsing in the middle, right? People just walk around it. So people are technically obligated to buy into that, like, bracket category nonsense. It's a game that involves your survival, absolutely. It involves hiking up the prices. But you can outplay the game by, growing your own food or learning how to cook. Being able to buy and enjoy cheaper foods is one of the win conditions, rather. To lower your spending significantly is a very good win condition. A lot of people can't do that. My mom definitely can't do that, and I stepped in to, steal the deal for both of us. And I would be inclined to help as many people as possible, but friendship doesn't really work under capitalism. There's very strict limitations to all of this. Relationships barely work because, well, what the fuck? Relationships don't make money. Crazy. But people just mistreat relationships because they kind of do make money in terms of fame or building a business. Under capitalism, though, they just socialize that. It doesn't make money. If I have friends, they just want things from me. People are not incentivized to seek friendship, which is not always a smart idea because sometimes you get leads of ways to make money through friendship. If you know how to fucking communicate about that. There is a threshold, I guess, on that, in that sense. I got a job through a friend, so that's cool. That was a pretty solid position. Remote job. Doesn't grow on trees and are not thrown in the bin on accident. So that was a beautiful opportunity that, well, it got wasted eventually, and I don't know. There was something shady about it. So again, we're warning up, and we're gonna skip this video, hopefully. I will see just enough things, but this is 3 hours. Holy shit, man. I'll have to throw all my skills into this game. Or we're just gonna enjoy learning about the basics of money, which is something that I don't actually do on Capitalism Explained. I go on the other aspects. Like the more easy to talk about cultural, not factual. I could see the game being more intense in higher levels of power. But if a politician sells themselves for money, I mean, they're not doing politics. They're just wasting themselves. Just like you can sell fame for money. You can technically sell politics for fame, which is what Israel is doing right now. No one can catch those bad guys. I have a feeling that we're all distracted and we have little amount of unity to be able to catch bad guys, so the bad guys are just like running around aimlessly, doing whatever the fuck they want. But it's like all of a sudden, you know, it's also all of a sudden. We didn't expect that. We thought Trump is gonna finish the fucking Russian war the way he explained it to us. Instead, Israel became bold to start their conquest. Well, that's not what we asked for, but okay. But that's way out of our reach. Capitalism is merely a system for the NPCs. The money mentality gets injected into people. And I hope that this is a very good video to just understand what money is. What is that money mentality? Is there anything else about the game aspect? You can play dirty. You know, you can monopolize. You can trick people. One of the funniest things that I still remember about Capitalism Explained videos is when I said a Ponzi scheme is the closest you can get to making relationships. That's how bad it is. Maybe if you're doing a financial fucking pyramid scheme and you're recruiting people, it's a lot easier to make friends. Because someone on the top has to, like, initiate the whole process anyways. And talk to you. I mean, it happened to me. That was so exciting that it was the only exciting thing in terms of interaction with a person. And the funny thing is, about friendships, it is a Ponzi scheme. Friendships do tend to root themselves and find more friends within friends. Like, it should be growing. If we had plenty of free time, that would be the case, but it's not. The only thing we have is a Ponzi scheme. An idea that we make friends, but we also make profits at the same time. That one and the same. But then nobody falls for it because people hate this shit. It's so annoying. But you kind of have the, upper hand. You're not going to call it Ponzi scheme. You're going to call it for what you like to call it. It's a way to make friends. It's the only way. The only way. That's a good selling point, though. It's a good selling point. You get two problems solved at the same time. Or, if you want friends, you have to just chase fame and hope that that works out. You'll make a lot of connections by default. The other game aspect is everything you buy, technology-wise, could save you money. Could save you a lot of money. Right? It's the decisions you're making. If you're calculating that, you're going to end up with more points in the end of the day. If shit hits the fan, the amount of money you need to survive goes up. Especially during right now the apocalypse, where shit is hitting the fan just for the sake of shit hitting the fan, so we don't miss the understanding required to understand how shitty capitalism can get. This apocalypse is kind of forced. I'm not gonna lie. The Russia is forcing it. Israel is hopefully forcing it. Europeans are forcing it. Americans are probably just stupid. Chinese forced it with COVID. It is what it is. All of this is forced, and then you have a bunch of greedy people who hike up their prices and profits. That's a problem. But everyone is doing this bullshit right now. It's the apocalypse of capitalism. Capitalism is going to be finished sooner. Because we will hate it automatically. It is a very well oiled machine, this ism thing. I'm 31 years old and I basically lived across the entirety of capitalism. You know, I'm the baby of capitalism and I hated the whole fucking idea. Because I kept losing. No, I got to play the game. When we were playing the game, that was the fun moments. But when we stopped, everything stopped. We were playing the games, we were enjoying card games. Some passions like glue children together. That was nice, but people move on. Children benefit a lot from capitalism in technical sense. Because there's a lot of like consumerism going on. You constantly see like new things invented. So children, like people like myself, like this millennial, I had to go through all of the progression as if my life keeps getting better under capitalism. All of this technological progression, I had to like witness it and slowly get more and more. And it's just like, it's quite satisfying. It's quite optimistic. When you don't have to do anything, you can just survive, and all of a sudden the progression is happening in the background. So it's not that serious, right? If it's just survival, it feels like you're being threatened, but then you add the it's a game part, and then it's like, oh, I can just opt out from a lot of things, actually. Maybe the next ism will be, you don't have to do anything, it's not a game, though. It's very serious. And it's, fuck. Isms, right? Like, there's some pretty big implications. Yes, what Andrew Tate did by escaping the Matrix, he just gamed the system. Except, he got caught. Gaming it a little bit too much. How about that? Now he's in prison. There is a limit to how much you can game. No one likes a cheater. Alright? You can cheat a little bit to, like, try to keep up. Most of the people expect you to cheat, though, in lower brackets. In upper brackets of wealth, people don't care if you become wealthier. You know? People not gonna try and stop you anymore. It creates very weird dynamic, rather. Most of the harsh rules are for the poor only. Only poor people have to worry about it constantly. Where to sleep, where to get food, blah blah blah. They have to worry about these things. For me, it's a fun game, even in lower brackets. Where to get food, like, again, even food technologically gets more advanced. And I got better and better foods as a result. So I'm like, I always felt like I'm just good at the game, you know? The game primarily focuses on survival. If you survive, you will feel throughout time as if you're getting better. You're learning every single thing that happens. Every single new thing appears on your plate or whatever. You learn it pretty fast because it's already like familiar with the old things. And it's a fun thing to do, to learn new things constantly in a steady pace. TechBlade videos can actually show the technological part of how much of this is a game. You can make discoveries that significantly alter your life. Like, I bought a blender, immersion blender, and now I can blend certain things that potentially also reduce the cost again. Technology doesn't fuck around. This is the, like, for lower brackets of earnings, let's call it earnings, right? For lower brackets of earnings, technology is the most important thing. For like very, very high up brackets, like Elon Musk needs to buy Twitter because he's gonna go insane if he doesn't. Okay. For higher brackets, delusion is the problem that they have to solve. And this is very interesting thing to keep in mind, because you can keep these like rich people accountable just to make sure that they're not delusional. And if they are delusional, to keep them Keep them in check. You will always be able to slap some sense into them if they get close. Like there's this Ozempic craze among celebrities. That's a delusion. That's weird. Alright, remember this. This is the most important thing when it comes to, like, putting a lens on capitalism right now. Top 6 videos. So it's just, a recap, but, well, it is what it is.
In vaults around the world, mostly in New York and London, in the form of bars, gathering dust.
Well, he did show the other pile, which is the technology pile. Technology will continue leaching for gold. The real question is how much gold we actually mining, or producing, rather.
In vaults around the world. It seems like gold is having a comeback.
Gold never goes away.
It's shiny.
Wow, it came from outer space for some reason.
Like the sun. No other method for billions.
It's out of this world. There's no fucking way, dude.
Undiscovered.
But it shows how the level of mystery surrounding it and how it's basically impossible to recreate it.
Those properties.
China to the Andes, people independently fell.
Man, these asteroids were like hitting Earth from every single angle, guys.
At first for decoration.
Yeah, the it's a game aspect also, again, puts people into brackets. And the higher brackets want to make you feel bad. But it's a game, you don't have to feel bad. They just really want it. Especially women.
To the mix. It's a very human ingredient called belief.
Belief. Kind of what makes it a game, because it's very difficult to enforce beliefs. Things might get pretty weird when the game is over. People might have to do some weird shit like apologize. Consider what they were doing while in the game. Their perspective might open up of like, oh shit, this whole time I was just hurting people. Because I only cared about the profits.
There's another person.
I know I never hurt anyone. Because I didn't play the game that much. I didn't really care to play it. There's always hope in the back of your mind that, well, you're gonna keep up with the rest of the gang and invent something cool. Technically, I have that.
System. He trades it for wheat, and don't forget, nice and shiny. And all this is made possible because of collective belief. Belief that if I have this metal, I will be able to go use it to buy things that help me survive. And if everyone believes it, then it works.
Again, capitalism is not a belief that can be sustained forever. It's more like a summertime season. You gotta survive the heat. So in a sense, like, we always have money that we're ready to swap into. We're ready to swap into the money system. But the funny thing is, capitalism has been relevant for so long. We always talked about economy. We're gonna stop talking about shit like that.
King was presenting to these Spaniards, giving it to them for free. The Aztecs were using lots of gold, but not as a currency, but as decoration for...
Wow. The Gold Kingdom, but they're also the most savage beasts.
The Spanish ended up massacring the Aztecs with their weapons and their diseases. Men fevered by...
This might have been the, like, world before governments. Because you could just find the gold's pockets and completely obliterate those places. No government will try and stop you.
Chinese.
This is kind of like an exploration phase
metal stuff
of the civilization.
Fueled by conquest and spoils.
I wonder what this age looked like. There was a pure gold age at some point. Pure capitalism across the board. Everyone cared about money religiously.
And more gold. From...
Well, one thing you can find in his series is a lot of historical stuff, so that's why we're here. I don't do history, so that's good.
World with hopes of...
He's doing something I don't.
Finding one of these chests.
I just do pain. Without the S.
The book puts it, a murderous, cruel, intoxicating, brutal adventure that swallowed an entire civilization and spat it out as coin.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And I love when...
Banknote and they would give you gold.
One thing that I want to believe in the future, instead of believing in money, believe in smart people. Oh, I can't wait for that one. Nobody even cares if I'm smart or not. It's fucking crazy when you think about it.
This piece of paper turns into economic power.
This might be the transition into governance with this paper. Because you have to lay all of this gold craze to rest, all this physical craze, and just give something in exchange that indicates value, that indicates establishment as well. Again, under my system, this is what happened. This is how we put money to rest in a much grander scale. Capitalism is represented by 3, establishment by 4, giving us this number where we are right now. We almost think that money is still unavoidable. We have corporatism, capitalism. How do we escape money? And yet, technology has evolved to help us escape. Entirely. Entirely. Because at first, technology is for the smart people who can actually buy the correct technology. But eventually, technology is for everyone to escape hard labors of the game. Because generally speaking, technology will produce quite a lot of goods. Why would we not focus on that first? We'll produce and distribute the goods, mostly, and we'll work autonomously, mostly. So all of a sudden, there's goods that come out of fucking nowhere. No labor required, or minimal labor required. So it's at least incredibly cheap. That's the inevitable future, but, you know, people had to do shady things first. Gotta take a pee for the apocalypse. Because that was the inevitable thing. When we would have went the other way around, instead of inflation, we would have got sudden deflation. What sparked the clock of humanity was simply knowing that communism existed, and it was very different from just a craze about money. And I actually got to taste, just with my mom's story, how things changed, how humanity adopted money again. Because mostly, people just went to work, okay? They got their meals, they got their tools, maybe they even got their shelters nearby for the sake of work efficiency. But all of that was exchanged for more freedom. Just get money, you'll fix your own problems. Not the most efficient thing, actually, but something that more people agree. It's a very populist thing. People want freedom. People want to try their own skills. And so the game begins. Instead of being stuck in communities, you are now responsible for doing whatever you want, as long as it's successful. But work doesn't fully go away, doesn't it, as a result?
Thousands of years to do differs dramatically depending on where we get our information.
Ground news, my ass.
Actually,
This never stops, doesn't it?
40% ground also, but starts.
Hey guys, I actually know what to sponsor with. It's this politics. Let's drag people into politics. Was that a good idea? Maybe people will criticize the ground news craze. Because again, that's still bad. That's still not capitalism. You're still not selling things. You're more likely selling stress.
Prone to these vulnerabilities, everyone going and taking all the money out at the same time. So they decide to make one bank to rule them all, aka the central bank, aka the Federal Reserve, aka the Fed bank.
So that's the first move of the government. If it's big enough move, it's probably this one. But we're talking about 1900s already?
To set the rules.
That's the weird thing when I deal with a historian. I simply have to use my clock, my way of understanding time itself, or humanity's progress, because technically, good solutions are singular. 5 plus 5 only has one good solution. And a good solution is going to be 10 times better than an average solution. So essentially, humanity is self-improving system. The rate of improvement tends to be pretty consistent, so it becomes time itself. And you have to keep swapping the seasons. I guess I would imagine 1-2 represented like agricultural change. When humans learn how to work the land and grow things from the land. Like, the most important thing about 2 is, yes, communism, but where do communities go? Well, they work the land. They come from the land itself. They attach to the land. They get wealth from the land. It's fascinating stuff. how everything just makes sense when you use my system. $5 for using my system, though. Because I would rather have some money instead of people secretly using my system. Get out of here, dude. Because no one did. No one used that system. No one's gonna fucking fool me. Alright? Stealing my inventions. They will try, I imagine.
And the Fed would be in charge of controlling. This is complete.
The fun thing about time is it's infinitely divisible. If we have this, we also have infinite digits below the big one. You know, you have digits for seconds, minutes, hours, days, seasons, years, decades. That's about it. The second number is technically 8-year interval.
Now,
Which means humans are predictable too. Oh, that's crazy stuff, isn't it? I definitely use the exact system to also predict the future. This is one of those things where, like, digits of pi cannot do fucking shit, but digits on my system can actually predict the future. But, you know, how reliably? Still unclear, but they actually do something. If you can actually see those digits play their roles. But, just like with time, the different clocks for different locations as well. North Korea roleplays as if they still have communism. I swear to God. Some places might still have communism, guys. Even Americans have their little community. Is there more people like that across the world? Amish. It's a very weird word, so of course I don't remember it. Okay. Indigenous, I don't care much about that. Off-grid communities. Bro, we can't escape US on this one. I hope we can. Maybe you could say villages belong in communism still. Because capitalism is primarily a convergence ritual. You have to go to the city to feel the most capitalism. But if you sit comfortably in the middle, I think you get the best of both worlds. Except my community sucks, my town sucks. A little bit, just enough to suck more than it's good, but it still does the job. So it kind of cancels out the bad parts as well. I don't know. It worked for me. I didn't have to move whatsoever. Sorry about this weird graphic that this guy put up. Well, I do have my levers.
Visibly incentivized.
Yeah.
Credit to a bunch.
Yeah, they were able to move switches and manipulate population. Imagine that.
And so you had
It was so powerful.
investment.
Okay, so when the Fed was established, was the 4 3s. I noticed 1920s to be exactly this, like, communism's end, or centralism's end. I decided to call it centralism, the 142. This is where the world wars lie. Yes, people absolutely see a reoccurring war interval. Generational cycles.
In the United States by a decree from above. All of your dollars can be turned in for real gold bars.
Oh, they're selling the dollar,
$35
guys.
per ounce. Change them for gold.
Fucking eternal scammers.
And we'll promise we'll keep it.
They ran out of gold very quickly. Aww.
And finally, we're all used.
We don't have gold anymore. Probably 132. The start of communism.
Global economy runs on a currency that is built off of collective belief in a story, in a ground.news.
Ground news, guys.
All right, let's
But he said Bitcoin first. Is gold forever? I don't know. As tangible as it is, as divisible as it is, I feel there's something missing to gold that makes it appealing to own. You can call it hoarding, by the way. The moment people decide to hoard something, they could actually cripple the entire economy of that thing. Bitcoin cannot be hoarded. That's one of those magical things, you know, that people don't actually see it, but that's the thing that keeps Bitcoin alive. That's what kills gold. Proposition of gold is value. Gold feels like it has been hoarded by the government. Like, that's it. Game over.
Let's start
Video number 2.
traveling back in time.
Can't repeat the past.
And how
One thing I forgot to mention, it's a game. Everyone who is born is just slightly different, and if they tune in into their strengths, they can actually produce something unique. If they tune into their strengths even more, they can produce something unique worldwide. Meaning, the bigger population, the more unique things there's going to exist. And again, the good things tend to spread pretty fast. Well, I do have to stand by a correction. Well-packaged things. Because I know I'm not well-packaged. It's the only downside I have.
America. Look what's happening. All 3 of these income brackets are increasing their income at the same rate. Inflation is up, partly because there's war in the Middle East and they're cutting us off oil, so there's long lines at these gas stations and everything is more expensive.
No! They're gonna do it again! I have a feeling that America will be forced to comply to the idea that cars are not the best thing to build your nation around. You should have walkable cities after all.
These house.
You can also associate communism, again, the previous ideology, with traditional values or mindset where, you know, the idea of family was a thing, the baby boomers were a thing. Although I might be exaggerating on that one. Because baby boomers are now like 1950s, so it's quite far away. Maybe traditional values came to place to something perverted that was happening back in the day.
And we saw how the high
We
income,
share prosperity,
the low
guys.
income, and me, the middle income.
I mean, technically, corporatism itself went into the apocalypse mode by, you know, splitting this graph.
Continued through the 70s.
Forking this graph,
Wait, look
rather.
what happens right... Whoa,
Down.
they're diverging.
Uh-oh, they're diverging because that's the apocalypse syndrome. The final thing. Why? Oh. Well, it's pretty obvious. Alright. Is this. Wait, it's not obvious. We entered capitalism. Why would this diverge then? So it might just be not apocalyptical, but like very exaggerational. To exaggerate differences. People really wanted that. But this marks the age of capitalism now. We didn't care. We didn't care about our differences. We let equality stay intact until we started playing games. And in the game world, there's winners and losers, unfortunately.
Up a little faster.
So the real question, what will apocalypse look like? Corporatism apocalypse. Well, it's pretty obvious. It involves AI.
I liked it more when they were all
Now it looks more visible what it will look like. This is graphically visible, rather.
kind of like on top of each other, growing at the same time. The same split happens. My pay starts to flatline,
Uh-oh.
even as productivity continues to go up of the population. Okay, so that was a big change from all the trends. Let's see what happens next in dollars a year.
What is your power level?
Which is, wait a minute, same as
Oh my god.
changes to the rules. Policies that end up determining who gets the money and who doesn't. These policies are made by
Changes to the rules because it's a game.
people that we elect. And if we don't think that this is fair, we have the power to pressure them to design a system that is fair. Now, the medium income
Or we don't have the power because we're so segregated by the capitalism. We're so distracted by our own level of operations because we own just enough things so we don't think about becoming rich. We're not cunning to pull down. We have the power to tax the rich, but we need unity for that.
an hour. Let's assume I work 40 hours a week, and I work every week except 2 that I set aside for holidays, sickness, and vacation. This means I make $25,000 a year. At this level, around
Not to mention he has to pay for gas for his car, like everyone else in America.
So how am I going to get
Again, we're just glossing over that the house itself where he lives earns just as much as he does. You know, fucking awesome. Houses are so productive nowadays. They do half of the work that you do. I'm glad that landlords work very, very hard
utilities.
nowadays.
So how am I going to, let's just say,
work at enslaving humanity,
in this
rather?
assumption and saving up for maintenance and repairs. We got to be pretty careful about how much extra driving we do.
Uh-oh. Be careful, buddy.
Then 19,578, and I make $25,000, so nope, I don't qualify. Okay, so we've
Aw, he wanted food stamps.
covered our basic needs. This is one of the reasons why people in my income bracket live around 7 years less than the richest.
Okay, I have to stop you right there. Do not adopt delusion when you're poor, because that's the worst thing you can do. People in low income brackets, they have very shitty hobbies. And they work more. They work more tiring jobs. Obviously. They're exhausted more. They're entrapped more by the inability to do things. So, I'm sorry, dude. This is where statistics get tainted. The funny thing is, because it's a triangle and there's less rich people, there's a little bit of a filter mechanic going on. You know, there's that guy, that billionaire, Brian Johnson, who spends his entire time just trying to figure out how to live longer. That's what rich people do. It's fucking weird. Oh, look. Women act as if they're rich, and it actually is working for them. Look at that. Not to mention that, you know, men are drafted into wars and do more risky activities in general. If they're rich, they don't want to risk their lives that much. How about that for a change? If they're women, they don't want to risk their lives because they have babies. They're risking more than their own lives. So to think that this graph just kind of does whatever he said...
One of my income on health-related.
I mean, on healthcare? Oh, I can't spend on healthcare. Boo-hoo, what the fuck? That's not the direct correlation, unfortunately, to a healthy lifestyle. For fuck's, it's obviously not healthcare dependent. You gotta be kidding me.
The reasons why.
One of the reasons, one of the 3,000 reasons.
People in my income bracket, this doesn't add up. Entertainment, fitness, and travel just isn't feasible. I have no emergency savings.
Sorry, buddy.
There's no rainy day fund, and live in stress of an unexpected car repair, a health emergency. Any of these unexpected charges could be a major setback. Or DoorDash. But what's clear is that my full-time job, which pays much more than the minimum wage, is still not enough to make it to.
Shit. That is ridiculous, dude. I had my minimum wage. I was fine. But oh wait, it was a walkable city. I wouldn't even have a place to place my car where. Otherwise, I would have to get a bigger place to stay. I mean, parking a car, I guess it's possible in most places. Again, I'm thinking of time when I went to UK to work for the minimum wage, the 7. Even $8 was available for me. At the end of each year, I feel like I was plus 2,000 in excess money. And the funny thing is, under welfare, I am way wealthier and I have to work way less. You know, 0 hours. Disposable income being at, well, similar amount, really. But I get to spend time saving money too, right? Spending less because I do more smarter purchases.
I spend about $136 a month just on gas to get to my job. This leaves me with a little
Crazy.
over $400. Luckily, my employer.
It's a game, and people treat it as a game. People don't treat money as a vitality. That's why you cannot find jobs. You can't even find a girlfriend. You can't find things. You have to search for things and find things because it's playing like a game. Shit is all over the place. You can find all kinds of things all over the place. And again, with friends, it would be a lot easier if people would actually understand these fucking aspects of what they're into right now. What kind of system they're a part of. The best wins you can get by understanding that it's a game. I will probably make an exclusive video about finding things under capitalism. And I might actually go out and search across the store, or maybe even go to a whole different store that I've never been to, just to look around, see what I can find. I will almost perform a ritual for an episode. I don't do that shit necessarily. I order things for the tech blade. That's big enough ritual for me. I might not just search for food items or whatever. I might actually look into the public. There's women out there, okay? There's people doing their jobs too. And different kind of people doing their jobs. I don't know. I don't want to do finding alone. It's one of those activities you need friends for, unfortunately. And you should be inspired to have friends for this specific reason. In fact, I need internet friends. Internet people have to find things for me. They should constantly be doing that, finding games, videos to watch. If you can help me establish a new section in Discord where we pile on our finds, then we can start exchanging very valuable information. This is an emergency, okay? Please. If you can help me with that. Again, this is late game of capitalistic game is to find things because there's so many things. There's going to be one tech blade video. There's literally dedicated channels of finding technological gadgets, basically. Some of them work, some of them don't. But if someone is dedicated to searching through the trash, they find things. It's fascinating, dude. In fact, as I've said at some point, trash into cash. This is the best way to earn money under capitalism. No joke. Trash into cash. What people tend to throw away, if you can turn that into cash, that's it. That's the game plan.
Into a savings account.
No, you're about to hit zero.
So it will grow over time. But to be honest, I might go out with some friends, and after all of that, I end up around zero. It's like, okay.
Broken spend $60 for friendship. Can I do it too?
Now I'm 10. Would have been more
fucking medians. What?
More than enough too stressful. Not bad, and in fact, much better than the vast majority of Americans. Big private equity fund. I'm in finance.
I'm looking for a man in finance.
I works in an entire...
Again, some or a lot of women are busy trying to find a rich guy. Uh-oh. No one can afford a woman up to this point.
Lifetime.
Up to the man in finance.
I've got some serious money to work with here.
Aww. But that's why you have to treat women equally. That's the funny bit, actually. That's so fucking fun. We treat women equally. Let's go, baby. It's a fucking game. You're equal. You asked for it. Feminism, everything. Equal. Don't expect men to actually pay for anything in particular. Alright? For the relationship. I can pay for you. You look pretty. You put on makeup. Let me finance your makeup. Oh, cute. This is one of the biggest things to bring back your self-esteem up. Okay, you're equal to women. You don't have to pay for them. Don't even dare. All right. Being a man is not about having money anymore. All right, this shit's equal. It's a game. Women can make money in so many ways too. And there's always going to be simps who will be tricked into giving money to women. So you don't have to play that game. And then, you can afford a woman. Crazy, I know. But you can afford an independent woman, which is better in these conditions under capitalism. It's best to make sure they're independent. Relatively. There's some special exceptions.
Never have to wait more than 10 minutes in the waiting room. Remember, my time is extremely valuable. And this is one reason why my life expectancy is way up here.
Wow, it's because of the doctor checkups,
Probably
guys.
7 or 8 years, like spending thousands of dollars every month on food for just me. So what do I do with all this leftover money? Well, I do have a semi-complicated investment
I start hoarding.
portfolio that I love to talk about. I like to rethink money. Because people at this income summer house in Italy...
There is one thing about playing the money game. Multitasking, even as I'm making the video. I could be multitasking on the side to make some money. Now, it's very difficult to pull this off correctly. You have to really know how to position yourself, and you have to really do the research for this. But almost every little activity you can do that earns money could amount to something if you can multitask it. Tapping into freelance money gains. That's a big deal. Should be goal for anyone who has enough free time to crack the system. Just the biggest way to earn money is earn money on the side. Every now and then, sell something on Marketplace. Or do commissioned gigs, I guess. Because it's such a powerful part of the economy, I hope it gets fixed. Where people automatically get these opportunities to think about. Even AI can give you certain tasks to do that pay you a tiny bit amount of money for each task, but it amounts to something. There's a lot of unpaid activities that should be considered valuable. That is one of these trends that have to come to life, and capitalism will sink like a ship. Or like a rock, rather. It will sink the moment we figure it out. The moment we complete it. The moment we find the way to tap out. Because the moment we earn money in the most convenient way is the moment we don't have to worry about money.
Noise, pollution. I can live surrounded only by people who are wealthy like me.
He said he can avoid noise and pollution. That takes beyond 1 million, huh? What the fuck?
What George makes it. Magically, when I open my refrigerator, everything I need is in there. It's all been fully designed by my nutritionist, purchased by my house manager, prepared by my personal chef. And
yay! When I open a fridge, there's nothing there. That's crazy. He has a magical fridge.
You actually could spend this much money on food.
You could, but you can't in higher income brackets anymore.
Given your
Being a billionaire is so sad, you can't spend money anymore. But you can own things like Twitter. Yay! X marks the spot. Now he completed his adventure into being a felon.
salons above me that...
Anyways, the real question is when the delusion settles. At 1 million? At 200k? Because just being isolated from people and using people as servants is already delusion level. Because everything can collapse. All of a sudden you don't have anyone to rely to. Rely on, rather. Technically, every rich person living on a Ponzi scheme.
Our economy. It's bad for our politics. And it's bad for...
Bad for our economy. We don't own economy. The economy owns us. And as slaves, we should kind of back away from it, you know? The game is no longer benefiting us. It's trying to keep the rich snuggled in their little beds, in their dream states. That shit has to collapse first and foremost. And it's about to, I believe. Resentment towards rich people have to keep growing.
Country in the world of people who live with that kind of income. The US government spends about $1 trillion every year helping these people meet their basic needs. And whether or not this is actually benefiting the people that it's designed to...
Well. Video number 3.
benefit. So we're just going to do a few...
The welfare and getting rich off the poor.
Case studies. I am bracing myself to get sued or intimidated by the companies that I'm calling out in this video because that's how a lot of these powerful shadowy companies work.
Damn, bro.
As always, every assertion in this video is rigorously fact-checked and in my sources. Lawyers, go check that first before you send me your cease and desist order.
Public education, what a misnomer. More like children entrapment for free. We'll take care of your children, you can go to work now. Great.
This guy used to give money to citizens in need directly. But after these reforms, the money would start to be distributed to the states. The states would this money to eligible people in need. They'd be responsible for making sure that no one's abusing the system.
Total privacy.
Or profit companies, so weird. Why would you do that? Why can't you just hire government workers to look after each other?
President Bill
Here.
But there is one aspect usually in capitalism is competition. Who is better at doing good deeds, I guess? If government gets to sit back and just like pick their favorites, yeah, that's fine.
I've always wondered,
Give money to Mr. Beast.
like, did this work? Has not benefited the most vulnerable and needy people in our country, the poor, the elderly,
That's what we're gonna explore.
children in need. District of Columbia versus Liberty Tax Service. Liberty Tax was recently sued for luring low-income people by saying
It's crazy how much you can learn from lawsuits. What shady practices people get away with.
pare down their list so they have fewer people to work on, which is less cost for them. So yes, there is cost cutting and efficiency that's happening here, but it happens to be at the expense of vulnerable, needy people. They can. And if they're not held accountable for doing that, the people who suffer
Do them!
are
Let's
the people who
go!
are already vulnerable and needy in our country, which is what all these programs
You need more
are meant
lawsuits
to
in
have
your life.
aspect, but performing like dental surgeries on people, root canals on babies for money is a level of greed and corporate exploitation that I cannot really get my head around. But middleman Maximus, who we've talked about at length here, and who I will probably get sued by, would get $1,600 per child that they found who qualified for this benefit. Remember,
A lot of things under capitalism ends up being predatory. It's fucking scary out there. It's best to not need things at all. Not need things like a car, or insurance, or healthcare. Alright? America shows the true colors of capitalism and how scary it can get. The other places don't rely on the visual representation of things.
moving to more like
Alright, that was boring. Video number 4. This one is just too predictable. Okay, video number 5.
13.
Gold, time travel, brackets, this one. Groceries are expensive. Oh, we skipped the billionaire, look at that. We had to make an exclusive video about it.
Kind of barely dips. Yes,
Barely dips. This was actually contested. A small dip can make a big difference in the market because of the high demand of eggs. The profit margin, though, does tend to align with this. But then the question is, did we not, like, read the data?
for a dozen eggs. Is profits per shareholder.
Did we not sharehold for eggs? So what are we supposed to look at, right?
What and who they can buy. So first up, let's start with $100 million. We did the piles of cash. This is what 100
Let's go next level, baby.
Here, how about this one? $8.5 million. This nice apartment in Midtown Manhattan.
This should make it feel to you that it's a game. With enough points, you get a nice apartment. You get people working for you. And it's a privilege. They are noobs, and you're level 90 paladin. They should be watching what you're doing. The biggest piece of the game is ass kissing, basically. That's the game. And basically, that's the plug as well to end the game. When ass kissing ain't that fucking fascinating.
Is growing way faster than the interest on my loan is accruing. So this tax-free debt thing.
This seems like one of those very fragile things that millionaires dip their balls into. Again, it smells like a very fragile system. After all, not only it's a game, but it's a belief-driven system. The weak points should exist and can be exploited. Yes, I mean, the biggest mistake people can make is accept comparison game. There's always going to be people more richer than you. Because usually you don't even know how to fucking play the comparison game. You're comparing yourself to greater people. Even though just being stable, being financially stable is top 50%. I guess instead of 50%... or 25. This is like level 2, I guess? Well, financially speaking, there are levels as well. You keep cutting that in half, you're higher level. You financially don't have to outpace tenfold, basically. Because it's not about finances in the end of the day. Finances just create security. That you're able to buy necessary goods for the lifestyle of your choice.
I've got a personal driver, I've got a shopper, I've got a butler, a chef, a laundry person. I'm super into security, so I've got a head of security and a bunch of security guards. I have a personal handler who sets up all the logistics of stuff I want to do. Like, I want to go yachts, but this is still pretty entry level. Because at this point, yes, I've got loads of money. I can buy and travel and live how I want. But what separates me from the big dogs who we're about to see is yachts and private jets, but also influence in society. A ticket, but I'm one of
Another thing that makes this into a game is, again, how do you make money? You have to use trickery, usually. Instead of doing a real job, your focus is on maximizing profits. And it's a beyond scam territory. It's just like, a lot of jobs are fake. Instead of being qualified, passionate people, they're just good at making money. This is one of the first episodes. Placeholders. They're just placeholders. By the time skill actually matters, and the moment people actually look into some of these workers, some of these service people, they're gonna fall off really fast. With money, you can invest into holding your place no matter how hard it is. Enough money can reset your bad conditions, you can relocate yourself, it doesn't matter. As long as you know how to trick people into giving you money, all of a sudden you're just like a criminal running around and finding new people to backstab. The only useful thing about placeholders is that they find a place in the first place, they find demand of some kind. The challenging part is going to be replacing placeholders with something actually appropriate, actually professional, people with real skills, not just the ones that decided to do the thing for profit. In that sense, a lot of things simply don't even work, don't even function properly. We technically have placeholder game developments in a placeholder app store. You can imagine that despite entertainment evolving, it's also not doing very fast. Not doing that very fast at all. But we're talking YouTubers, we're talking every job in existence lacks competence nowadays.
Work with the ultra-rich. Many of them don't want to appear and be quoted in this video, but we're grateful that they let us in on
Fascinating level of research going on
some
here.
of these last second, and I just saved hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes. 20 million bucks to get this guy elected in exchange for hundreds of millions of dollars in savings? That sounds like a good investment. Thanks, Congress.
Well, it's a direct corruption. It is what it is. There is a limit. I might even think 1 million is the limit, but it's more like 100 million. It's the limit, then things get satanic very quickly. And shit like that, we have to keep an eye on. Anyone who breaches beyond natural limitations are probably doing something wrong. Just awareness alone usually can break half of the system.
Influence right now, and influencing the media is a great way to influence society. And this is where I can take the loan thing that we talked about earlier to a whole new level. Yes, I could sell a bunch of my stock to get fortune to my daughter, let's say. And the moment I give it to her, boom, the clock resets. She inherits that fortune, and suddenly it's as if she has zero gains. Meaning she could sell this entire portfolio on day one and pay no taxes. Those disappear, never to be taxed. And yeah, on this super yacht airship crossover that's straight out of Stargate garage for my cars. And yeah, we gotta talk about my private jet. Oh, sorry, private jet.
Again, at some point, it's just pure brain rot. What the top 1% of top 1% can do. Why are we even learning about this? What is there to learn? I'll survive it, finish this video, and move on with my life.
Jets.
That's
I have
it.
3 of them.
Bureaucracy!
Again, it's a game. And I'll make a conclusion. Just to warm the conclusion up, the brain rot doesn't matter. The only thing that matters, is it interesting to play the game or not? That's it. That's the ultimate quality. Whether you're gonna keep going, keep climbing, just gonna give it up and find a next level thing to pursue. Your win condition should be a very specific amount. You should know when your dreams stop coming true, and all of a sudden you have to scratch your head up like, how do I spend all this money?
For the majority. This isn't a broken system. This is a system working exactly how it was designed by
To be broken, it's a broken system. That's the fucking fundamental of capitalism, is that it's a broken system. Life is not a game. And those bunker developers, they know exactly that it's not a game, and it could actually turn around them very quickly. Turn around against them. Game can get very quickly hostile when people attempt to shut it down. Enough of this monopoly, you know? Game of Monopoly. Someone wins, we move on. And there has to be enough incentives for people to keep on playing and producing winners of monopolies. The moment the game gets boring, I guess that's the fucking moment. Technically, the game becomes boring when knowledge catches up on you of like what exactly your future holds when you have money. What exactly are the benefits and the downsides? If you actually map everything out, you might get bored a lot faster. Maybe that's a very useful thing. For destroying capitalism is just, educating people about money. Oh wait, I just did that. Yeah, they bleed the system. They hack the system. They satanize the system. It's pretty satanic to have infinite servants to follow your orders because big money. Again, I'm not worried about top 1% as much as I'm worried about bottom 1%. All the fucking real demons. They're easy to come by. I don't have influence on satanic people, but it's important to know who you're working for and what exactly you're doing. If you like the result, the outcome of your work in the first place, you can always steer the situation. You don't have to manipulate it too much. You don't have to quit. You can, get yourself fired naturally just because you're upset based on your emotional state. You can naturally fight Satanism in that sense just by disliking it and being grumpy about it. I can't do the same thing with bottom 1%, unfortunately. Grumpiness does not beat them. I need genuine ability to escape. I need genuine unity between people. I can't just be a fucking lone warrior surrounded by zombies and demons, bro. And yet, that's the preference in this game. The preference is to not give a fuck about anyone else, which is one of the reasons why this game is so fucking annoying. Not just boring. The prices that people take home is attention-seeking. The way they treat you, that you're not even allowed to have free time all of a sudden. It's very cult-like behavior of like, oh, you're playing a game, you're so fucking happy. But it's a very aggressive cult-like behavior. Man, it's a game that produces slavery, that's fun. And yet I still think, if you treat it as a game, you can see its true colors. I mean, I already passed that point, way past that point where I can actually just play capitalism. I see it, I interact with it, I get my share of things from capitalism, and I move on to much more sophisticated things to focus on. It's a game that spits in people's faces very often. There's a lot of losers with loser behaviors. NPCs who can you identify by their repetitive nonsense and blatant disrespect until the magical brain activates of like, oh, but they get to respect money. Money gets respected. The brain lights up. Those kind of people, man, they're pathetic. They're the gamers. They're the NPCs of this game, right? NPCs and beyond. There's probably some main characters, but it's still a game. I wouldn't dare to call them all NPCs. There's like storytellers or shopkeepers. But that's how you have to look at it. Outside of what they're doing, they don't really have much going on. And they're not even striving to have more. Not even striving. I would respond to every single attempt to want more out of life. See you guys next time.